I'm a huge fan on Ange Postecoglou. Of course, I'm from a different culture. I'm Portuguese, and all the Portuguese coaches, they can adapt, and I adapt. The simple thing is that I use one system in the moment, because I believe if you work on that system, you can play in different system at the same time. So that is my idea. But we are not winning games, and I understand the connection between me and Ange. We have the same problems. In my opinion, with all due respect, I'm in a bigger club with a bigger pressure, so I understand the connection, and I think it's really important a coach to have to follow his principles.
Who's under the pressure for the results they've had. Can you afford to feel any sympathy for it?
Of course, I feel, especially because he's a good guy. He's a very good coach. He wants to play football in the right way, and that is, for me, is a good thing. And we know that, again, when we choose this kind of profession, there is a lot of good things, but then you have to feel that pressure when you don't win. Our biggest problem now is Tottenham. We know that the moment of the club, of course, I have to understand all these problems, but that problem of our club is not new. You already knew all the rules of fair play. We have a problem at the moment, but that cannot influence the way I coach the team and prepare the next game. So my focus is on that and not in the other things.
Well, as a coach, you have to feel as though you're going to be able to make things better, and you always plan forward. Every coach does that. So that surely has an impact on whatever discussions you're having.
Here is simple. To do something, we need to sell players. So that is my focus, is to prepare the game. We cannot do now. The window is closed. We need to focus on the games that we have, especially the next one, and then in the summer we will see.
Ruben, we know that the club's got an ambitious target to win their 21st title by 2028. Was that something that was mentioned to you when you joined, and also do you think that's a realistic target to have?
Yes, we talk about that. Our focus. I said since the day one, our focus is to win the Premier League, and we can change everything in a few years. I don't know how long it's going to take. In this moment, we are in a difficult situation. The way we play, the games that we don't win, we know that, but we need to work every day and to focus on the little steps. Winning the next game, prepare very well the next summer, and then we will see.
You mentioned the summer. I know it's only just been January and closed, but fans would be interested to know what the landscape might look like, because it feels like it's going to be an important window for you to get the players to fit your style. Is that then the case, though? You need to sell to buy even in the summer.
Yeah, you know the rules better than me. So our focus is to win these games, and then we have time to focus on that. I'm really focused on winning the next game.
There's a 12-point gap between the bottom three and where you are right now. It seems like a big gap on the surface. Is it dangerous to kind of feel safe at this stage? Do you think it's dangerous to kind of fall back on that cushion?
No, we are not. We cannot. It's impossible. If you see that the table, is impossible to feel any type of comfortable in this moment. We just want to win, to improve our performance, because we are Manchester United. We are always talking about the same thing. It doesn't matter the distance for up and down. We need to win the next game, and we need to improve, and we need to perform better. So there is no comfortable in any situation in this club.
Spurs against United, two managers that are in disarray, in trouble like you wouldn't believe. And whoever loses, if other results go the way that we're potentially predicting to go, Everton and West Ham, they could end up 16th. Is this win or bust for Ange?
Yes.
Is it win or bust for Amorim?
No, because he's not going to get sacked. But it's win or bust for Ange for sure, because it depends on the manner of the defeat as well. Daniel Levy's shown that he's a businessman. I think he probably assess it financially before making the decision to sack Postecoglou. But if you look at the weird thing about Spurs, right, is that they've lost 13 league games this season, horrendous. But barring the 6-3 loss against Liverpool, every single one of the defeats has been by one goal. So they've been in every game this season almost, apart from that Liverpool game where they got turned over. And that's why their goal difference is what it is. It's plus 11, but they're in the bottom half of the Premier League table. So
Confusing.
it will be a close game. There's not a game that Man United are going to turn up and batter Spurs, because Spurs have shown against the best teams in the country, whether it's against your lot where they turned you over or against us where they were in the game. They are in games, but I just think for Postecoglou, there's only so much losing Spurs fans can take. There's only so many cup competitions you can go out of. I think they'll hold on to the fact that, we're still in the FA Cup, we're still in the Carabao Cup. Those two dangling carrots have gone. You're still in the Europa League, but do you expect Spurs to win the Europa League? I don't. And so if you continue to lose league games, eventually things will start to turn. Spurs fans, I think a lot of them have already turned. But if they lose against United and lose badly, I think Ange's gone.
I think it's sort of the shame of modern football, which is that success has to happen now all the time. I think when you look back at this season in 10 years, Spurs fans probably won't remember this season. City fans probably won't remember this season. But because everything's here and now, you get pushed into this feeling of like, they're 15th in the league now, they're 14th in the league now. He has to be sacked. How dare Spurs be 14th? But like as you said, they've been in pretty much every single game. Before all the injuries, even when they were losing, they were by far the better team, and there was just like a little bit of bad luck or like a tiny little bit of an error. And I think if you're a footballing person, which I don't actually believe Daniel Levy to be, but I think if you're a footballing person who loves Spurs and you look at what Ange has done and the way that they are playing, I genuinely don't see a point of sacking him. They haven't got any of their managerial appointments right in the past, whether it's been Mourinho or Antonio Conte, two of the best managers of all time. They didn't get them right because they weren't supported properly. You've got a manager here who clearly the players are still playing for him. You saw that when they beat Brentford 2-0, all of the players waiting for him to come over and then going to celebrate in front of the fans. He's had a ridiculous injury crisis. And I just think, do we always have to care that much about whether we win this week or where we finish this 1 year? I think there's clearly a project going on at Spurs. And I think once Ange gets his players back, they'll start winning games anyway. I genuinely don't expect them to finish in the bottom half of the table. And I think once he gets a little bit more backing and a little bit more money to compete with the big teams, which Daniel Levy is so desperate to do, but won't actually stump up the cash to do it, I genuinely think he could be the man to lead Spurs to some success.
The only thing is, where I agree with a lot of what you said, when you talk about like it's 14th, like you can give up this season, I just think as football fans, like away from the success part, 14th for Spurs currently means you're below Crystal Palace, you're below Fulham, you're only just above Everton, you're only just above West Ham. You've lost 13 times this season. Wolves, or more so Ipswich, who are second bottom, have lost 14 times. There's certain things that I think football fans can go, I can look away from that. But there's also certain things where I think they go, it's just not on.
But what happens? What happens?
But
who do you get in? There's no guarantee of success. It's just another 12 years or 15 years without a trophy.
I understand that, but then you look at the league table, right? And we were big proponents of Ange when he first came in. I want him to succeed as much as I don't want Spurs to succeed. But you look at Southampton 20th, sack the manager. Ipswich are never going to sack Kieran McKenna because he was managing them in League One 2 seasons ago. Leicester, sack the manager. Wolves, sack the manager. West Ham, sack the manager. Everton, sack the manager. Man United, to above Spurs, sack the manager. Every team down there, barring Spurs and Ipswich, have sacked their manager. So why are Spurs any different to any of these other sides?
Because they've had the injury crisis.
And the injuries, I understand that. And I understand the here and now point you made as well, because if you think about the last time Spurs won a trophy, 2008, no one remembers how poor Spurs were in the league that year. They were terrible. But everyone remembers the one day Ramos won the League Cup against Chelsea in February. But you just look at the results and they're not good enough for Spurs. And I think that when you point to injuries, yes, injuries are a big part of why Spurs are down there. But I don't think these players returning is going to change much. First of all, Van de Ven is integral to what he does in terms of Postecoglou's setup. But he's perpetually injured. This hamstring injury didn't just start when he came to Spurs. At Wolfsburg, he had the same injury. So you can't guarantee a bank that he's going to be there. It's almost getting to Reece James territory now with Van de Ven in terms of, yeah, it's a benefit when he plays, but you can't rely on it. Romero perpetually suspended or injured. You look at Maddison, is he so much of a plus when he comes back into the team? Solanke's first season at this level, is he a guarantee to firing goals to lead you up the table? And so I know their injuries are problems, but I don't think there's a guarantee that when these players come back, this form changes.
But then that suggests that the players aren't good enough. And it suggests that for Spurs to have any success, they need better players. I mean, they've been playing with Heung-min Son all season. He's very clearly passed it. He's very clearly lost it. He did when Harry Kane left, but he still salvaged some of it last year. And he's probably like the first name on their team sheet. So you can't say that the players are the problem and Ange is the problem, I don't think. I think Injuries have obviously hampered him massively, we know that. But I also don't think that anywhere near enough money has been spent on that squad, unless you're just happy being a mid-table team who will occasionally get into the Europa League spots, maybe win a Europa Conference League in the next 5 years. But that's clearly not what Daniel Levy is going for. That's not why he built that new stadium. But his actions don't match up to his words. He spent all this money on a stadium, which is fantastic. It's great. The Carolina Reapers or whatever play there. Brilliant. Brilliant.
Manchester United's strategic play against Tottenham Spurs in Premier League clash. With the Premier League season intensifying, Manchester United are poised for their upcoming confrontation against Tottenham Hotspur. Under the leadership of Ruben Amorim, United is gearing up for what promises to be a riveting matchup at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this Sunday. Despite the club not recuperating any of their injured players, Amorim's strategy focuses on leveraging his current squad to deliver yet another compelling performance. Alejandro Garnacho, amid swirling transfer speculations with Chelsea, remains a crucial piece of Amorim's plans and is likely to be reinstated in the starting lineup after being benched during the FA Cup victory over Leicester. This game could also see Patrick Dorgu, a fresh face from the January transfer window, making his Premier League debut, hinting at Amorim's intent to infuse fresh energy into the lineup. Manchester United's squad depth is tested with key players sidelined due to injuries. Lisandro Martinez is out for a significant period following a severe knee injury, and Luke Shaw has encountered a fresh training setback. The absence of Mason Mount and Johnny Evans further strains the team's resources, leaving Amorim to rely on the same cohort as the previous week. Despite these challenges, Manchester United's predicted lineup remains robust, featuring Onana in goal, flanked by defenders Euro, Maguire, Mazraoui, and Dalot. The midfield sees Ugarte and Fernandes joining Dorgu, with Diallo, Xerxes, and Garnacho leading the offensive thrust. Manchester United predicted lineup: Onana, Euro, Maguire, Mazraoui, Dalot, Ugarte, Fernandes, Ahmad, Garnacho, Xerxes. This fixture is not just another game, it is a vital encounter in the Premier League calendar with significant implications for both teams. For Manchester United, securing a victory at Tottenham's home ground could provide a substantial boost in their pursuit of a top-four finish, keeping them firmly in the race for European spots. Tottenham Hotspur, on the other hand, are equally determined to capitalise on their home advantage and disrupt United's ambitions. The clash between these two footballing giants will be a testament to tactical acumen and squad resilience, making it a must-watch for any football aficionado. Manchester United's journey under Amorim has been marked by strategic gameplay and adapting to challenges. As they face Tottenham this weekend, it will be a showcase of their resilience and tactical evolution in the face of adversity. With the eyes of the football world watching, United's trip to London is more than just a game, it's a battle for supremacy in the Premier League.